Today I'm going to try and make a gravity-fed weeping hose to go on my overhead tank. It'll run on low pressure, so I bought some stuff. I had to get just about all new stuff. If you had an old garden hose or something that you didn't mind putting some holes in, that'd probably be okay, but I didn't have one, so I just bought, this is a 100-foot roll, a 1/2 inch, whatever this black pipe is. It was about 30 bucks for 100 feet, so that's not too bad. And then you just got the fittings and stuff to go on there. Those are all new because I didn't have extras. And I got 2 caps that are going to go on the end that I just took off of something else. Well, I've got all the receipts, so I'll post them at the end of the video. My plan is to take this whole 100-foot roll and cut it in half, so I got 2 50-foot lengths, and stick the hose fittings on it. And I'm gonna drill a hole about every 3 inches, and I've decided to start with a 1/16 inch hole, or that might be a little small, but if I don't like it, I can go bigger. I just have to go back and re-drill the holes if it's not coming out fast enough. If I start bigger, I'm kind of committed, and I think it'll just depend on how fast it comes out. It'll probably come out plenty fast. We'll be able to take this Y here and regulate just how much pressure and how much fast it's coming out of the 1/16 inch holes. And yeah, so I'm gonna just roll this thing out and drill a bunch of holes in it. There isn't really a line on it to mark. Some of them have a line on it, so you kind of know where a straight line is, but this has just got some writing, so I guess I'll just drill the holes right in the middle of the writing all the way down, so they're as close to being on the same side as I can do. And we'll do that and see how it works. So I got it stretched out. I'm gonna cut it at the halfway mark, I guess. So maybe I should have said this at the beginning. Yeah, a hole every 3 inches on 100 feet is 400 holes. So you could punch them, but I'm drilling them because I think the hole's cleaner than if it's punched. The punch marks kind of, when they're under pressure, they kind of push back in and like to close the hole up. I'm hoping the drill ones, the hole stays true to form a little bit better, but we'll find out. Take about 15 minutes to drill the holes in one hose. I'm gonna put one together and try it out, see how the hole size and spacing works before I do the next one. Something you should be aware of. I'll see if I can hold this. I don't know why this is on these black pipes, and I've run into it before, but when you go to put the brass fittings in here, it's not a super good fit. And this is a 1/2 inch hose fitting going in a 1/2 inch black pipe, and a plumber could probably explain why the fitting fits so loose. But if you just put a hose clamp on that, you will get a terrible seal. It'll leak like crazy. So I haven't really found a super good way to overcome that. I just usually do a farmer's fix and wrap that in electrical tape to make the diameter of the barb a little bit bigger, and then clamp it down, and that seems to be the farmer fix. And on low pressure, it doesn't matter, but if you're on household pressure, then it will seal, but you got to pay attention to it. There's probably a better way to fix that. I don't know what it is. If you know, please leave it in the comments, because that would be useful. So I'll get these stuck on here. Yeah, it just dawned on me that a 5/8 might make a better fit in this 1/2 inch black pipe. And I went looking to see if I had any 5/8 hose barb ends like that, but I don't. So I guess I'll use what I have here. Yeah, people in the know everywhere are grimacing right now. That's about 4 wraps of electrical tape, but that'll seal it up. Anyway, let me know how the real way to fix this is. If you know, I'd appreciate it. Thanks. I got it hooked up to the house pressure on the hydrant, so I'm just gonna try and blow all the little plastic shavings out of there. looks like we got pretty good flow. Hasn't made it to this end yet. Now, by the time it gets to this end, that's pretty dribbly. So if I put my thumb over this, see if it pressures up. So the problem is we've got too many holes for the diameter of the pipe and the pressure, because by the time it gets to the other end, it's lost all its pressure in the holes, so there's very little water coming out. So what I've done here is for the first 10 feet, I plugged up every second hole, and we're going to play with it a little bit to try and see if we can find a happy balance that gets us a relatively even amount of water coming out along the length of the pipe here. So I think that under the pressure, the problems we're running into are magnified higher than they're going to be under low pressure. You just see it a lot more. But by the time you get to this end, plug it up. You see there's quite a bit of difference in how much water is coming out of that end compared to this end. So I've done 10 feet. I think I'm going to go halfway and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, here's our third attempt. We got holes, 16th inch holes spaced at 6-inch centers for 33 feet. And then the final all the way to 50 feet is 16th inch holes spaced at 3-inch centers. So we'll turn it on and we'll get a bunch in our pocket as per normal. So that's full bore. You can see the pressure drop towards the far end there, just how much it is on household pressure. But it's better than it was by far. So even though those are smaller arcs down towards the apple tree there, they're twice as close together. So I'm gonna dial the pressure back here so that we're low pressure. And we got it just dribbling out at this end. We got them just dribbling out at this end. So I think we're going to go with that. There's probably a scientific way of doing this, but I'm not scientifical enough to figure it out. So we're going to stick this on the gravity tank and see what it does. And here we're coming out. You can see these are at 3-inch spacings, so these are twice as close together. So it kind of, things sort of even out in the middle, and then towards the ends they get to the extremes again. This is running, I think, a little bit uphill. I'm not sure. And this is the pressure end turned right down to drip. Bear in mind these are twice as far apart as the other end. So I think that's as good as it's going to be. So this was what we were running into on our first attempt. We had 50-foot hose with 16th inch holes, 3 inches apart. It was 1/2-inch hose. And by the time you got to the end, there just wasn't any water volume or pressure. They just all came out full bore on the first ones, and by the time it got to the end, there was nothing. So then we made some adjustments. We put a wider hole spacing near the hydrant and a narrower one the second half, and that evened things out quite a bit. So that we were on the right track with that. So then we just decided to take it one step further And this is our final version here. I'm going to make the second one up now. We're going to put 12-inch hole spacing on the first third, and then a 6-inch on the second third. And on the last bit, we're going to have the 3-inch hole spacings. And that gives us pretty good coverage. It's not perfect, but I think it's as close as we're going to get without getting super complicated, and I think it'd be pretty simple to do. So I'm going to go out there and do that. So here's our final version at full pressure. That's the far end. It's kind of hard to see because it's kind of turned here. I think that's what we're going to go with. So I learned a lot from this project. I just thought I'd pass along what I learned. For a 1/2-inch hose, 50 feet is the maximum length. You'll have a lot less trouble making one if you make it shorter. And your hole size, 1/16 inch is a good hole size to use. The spacings, 12 inches is a maximum spacing, and you know, you need to get smaller and smaller as you get towards the far end. And with this low pressure stuff, you want to have it on a fairly flat grade, because small changes in grade really affect the pressure on the hose. And it seems to work pretty good. It puts on quite a bit of water, actually, a surprising amount of water in a short period of time, but it still seems to soak in pretty good. And one other thing is, I think a guy's going to want to have access to like house pressure to occasionally just blow the lines, because if dirt kind of dries in those 1/16 holes, the low pressure isn't enough to clear them. So it'd be good to, you know, blow them out every once in a while if you're having trouble with that. But yeah, it was fun, and it seems to work, but learned a lot, and we'll try something different next time. Thanks for watching.